Hi, I'm Ruth, and I'm going to be doing the processing part of the tutorial now. I have this processing code that I've made that has an array of questions and their answers, and it will display the text onto the processing window. So you can see this running. It displays the text for the question and the two options, and then it prints the answer. I just made this a simple click through. Once you click through the different questions, the screen just goes blank. So I'm going to demonstrate this by making a new file and going over this piece by piece. So I'm going to bring over my void setup, and I'm going to make a new void draw. So now I'm going to go over just kind of the basics of an array. For my questions, I want to have it as a string array because my questions will be strings. So to create that, I'm going to type string. I could also make it an int array by writing int, and then it's going to have these brackets. So this is the type of the variable. The variable name I'm going to make questions. And then to make this array, I need to put a bunch of values into this array. So it opens with a curly brace, and then I have to enter a bunch of strings. So question 1, question 2, and these should all be separated by commas. Question 3, question 4. And just to show how this can start to work, I'm going to print the first element. These are all elements. The first element of this. And it's important to note that the first element is, or starts with 0. So what I mean by this is if I want to print the first element of the array, I'm going to go name the array questions, and then I want the first element, which is element 0. So then if I play this and drag this over to the side, you can see that it's printing in here the first element. If I want 3, should be 0, 1, 2, 3. So if I play that again, you can see I'm getting question 4. One important thing to be able to do with arrays is to iterate through them or print out each element. So to do this, I'm going to create a for loop. So for int I equals 0, which is the first element of the array, I is less than questions.length, which is the length of the array. And then I want to add 1 to I every time I go through this for loop. So always make sure you indent the code inside of loops so that you can easily see what's inside and what's outside. And then instead of 3, I'm going to say I, so that hopefully what it does is it starts with 0, so it prints the first element, so 0, and goes up 1, 2, 3, and then it should stop. So we test it out. It looks like that's what it's doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it looks like it's repeating. So that's your basic one-dimensional string array. However, in this project, I felt like I needed a two-dimensional array. So what that means is there are arrays within arrays, which sounds kind of complicated, but once you understand it, it's pretty easy. So by making this second bracket, I'm saying instead of the type one-dimensional array, I'm going to give it the type two-dimensional string array. So now I'm going to give each question its own array. So each question needs to be in brackets within this overall bracket. So I'm going to start by putting each one in its own bracket. And still, these brackets need to be separated by commas. So right now it's pretty much the same, which is kind of pointless. But the reason I wanted to do this was because I wanted to have a option and a B option for multiple choice. And then the last one, I want to be which one is correct. So I'm going to copy over what I have here. So you can see this first element is the question. Second one is option A. The third one is option B. And the fourth one is the correct answer. So what kind of input only allows two values? That would be the second one, digital. So the answer is B. So this is still set up the same. This is an array. This is its own array. And then they're all separated by commas within this bigger array. So the way you can handle that is by saying questions I, and then let's say we just want the questions again. So I'm going to say I 0, and we'll see what this does. And you can see it is giving me each of the questions. So let's say I 1. It's giving me the first answer to each of these. The reason this says array 0, it looks like it might be getting something weird, but it's really just one of the answers. So the way we can print out all of these is by nesting another for loop outside of it. So I'm going to copy this all over again, change this to J, and then I'm going to change this 1 to J and see what it does. Looks like we're missing a bracket, so that's one that I forgot for this for loop. So let's see how it's working. Doesn't look exactly correct. Let's see if Ji changes anything. All right, that looks better. So now it is printing the question, the answer 1, answer 2, and what the correct one is.